Hello everyone, Istarix here with another video analysis of a game of War of the Ring. First I want to say many thanks for all the likes and the comments on my first video. Really helped me to improve upon my commentary and generally for this video. As you can see, I did some setup changes here. I made the font of the armies bigger and in bold because it was really hard to see some of the moves and the army sizes in the last video. And I also zoomed in on some parts of the board, especially the dice, so it's easier to follow the different moves and actions. Um, at this point, a big thanks and shout out to IRFA for providing me his preference file values so I could use them for this video. And also giving me the tip of zooming in some parts. So this should make the viewing experience for you better, I hope. So where are we at? This is the game 2 of the 2022 tournament for me. It's a rematch against my opponent herbtrain, who beat me in the first game, as you have seen, because I made some mistakes and just didn't switch my strategy appropriately. So yeah, I kind of need to win this one to have any chances of making the top cut of the tournament, because being at 0-2 at the beginning or after round 1 would be a bit bad. So I at least need to achieve a draw here. So yeah, let's get into it. I will try to keep it a bit shorter this time. As you know, the last video was very long, but it was also a very long game. So this one is a shorter one, so we can get through it, I think. So let's get into it. How do we start? I allocate one eye at the beginning. I also could have allocate 0 eyes. Sometimes shadow players might want to do this if they go for a military blitz. But in a tournament game, I thought to myself, let's not risk him having 4 movement in the beginning and then, you're off to a bad start. So I wanted to play it safe, I think. So that's why I only allocated 1 eye here. As for my starting hand, you can see I have drawn Return of the Witch King and Cruel Weather. Cruel Weather, of course, I love to see at the beginning because, then I will be able to stop him from entering Mordor later, perhaps. And Return of the Witch King, okay, that's not the best starting card, but Swarm of Bats is good for countering scouts. His starting cards are also nice. He got Fearfire Foes and Athelas. Yeah, very good. Let's see how we roll. I get 2 eyes. That's a bit much, I guess, especially I don't know if he's gonna move much, but he gets this roll. So I think to myself, yeah, he's gonna probably try to move a few times. So 3 eyes is reasonable. And I still got my 2 masters for bringing in Saruman. So this seems okay. So he starts, and I think he might move here, but he first types he's thinking. So this makes me already a bit suspicious because what is he thinking about here? Normally this indicates that he is thinking about separating companions, and he actually has the chance of getting Aragorn turn 1 here because he got 2 character dice and Will of the West. He could have also drawn Reprove the Swifter. Of course, he doesn't, but I don't know that. And he could use the first character die to separate Strider into Moria, then use Reprove the Swifter to get down to Minas Tirith and then crown him immediately. So, yeah, he has that chance. He also could do something else. He could separate Strider and a Hobbit to Cardolan. then use the next movement to bring the Hobbit to Southward Luin and Strider to Druid Yaor. And then use Fearfire Foes to get the North to war and also bring Strider to Amroth, and then he can still use his Will of the West to um, crown Aragorn. So it's actually a perfect role for him and his starting cards. But let's see what he does here. He does indeed separate Strider, but he also separates Boromir and separates both of them to Bree. And this seems strange at first because, as I said, he had some other moves that would definitely have been better, taking a Hobbit with him and going to Cardolan. I think his intention just is to play Fearfire Foes here, and he thinks, yeah, Strider is level 3, so I can get him to Bree by separating, and I just have to use one die. But yeah, it's just a bit inefficient, and I guess he brings Boromir because he plans on bringing them both to Gondor later. But this will require more dice from him, so it's a bit inefficient. He then goes a bit back and forth. He can't yet make up his mind, it seems. But then he lets them reside in Bree. And then he also tries to separate another group of companions, Gandalf and Gimli, which of course is not possible because you always only can separate one group of companions with a character die. So I have to remind him of that. And yeah, then he takes it back. Yeah, but seeing this, that he tries to do it at all, indicates to me, okay, this is going to be a different game. It seems he's trying to perhaps go for a military victory from the get-go, which, if he does this, I'm asking myself, why is he not separating everyone from the fellowship? Perhaps he's thinking he still wants to have a backup plan and have some companions in the fellowship, so he perhaps can still move them. But yeah, definitely seems he's going for a different route here. Yeah, as I said, he takes it back first, and then what I do? Yeah, I just draw a strategy card because yeah, it's always good in the beginning as Shadow to draw strategy cards, especially if you see the FP player not bothering about the fellowship, and yeah, in general it's also better because in the beginning you need more the strategy than the character cards at Shadow, except if you somehow if the fellowship moved and I would have revealed them and or hit them, and it seems like it's gonna be a corruption game, then I might be inclined to draw character cards, but that's not the case here, and it's going to be not a corruption game. So what do I draw? I draw Senator's Folly, which is a good card, but it doesn't really help me at this point. Okay, then my opponent does what he intended to do. He separates Gandalf and Gimli and brings them to Goblin's Gate, which makes me think he's going to want to get Gimli to Erebor here to activate the dwarves. So I think, yeah, at this point, definitely he either has Book of Marble or Fearfire Foes. And as it turns out, he has Fearfire Foes. Yeah. Okay. Then, yeah, I comment that's an interesting start because, yeah, as I said, this is going to be a different game because as a Shadow, you kind of have to be a bit careful in these situations because you kind of don't want to play your normal military game here in these kind of games because the free people, if they focus on the military from the start, you really have to be sure to secure all your strongholds. And yeah, the best strategy, in my opinion, is to just concentrate on the region they are trying to rouse with their companions and just don't let them muster up. You don't want a big doom stack of the 3 people running around the map, especially not with companions. So as Shadow, you need to focus on the region they're trying to master and at the same time defend your strongholds, which is not that easy, especially if the opponent really knows what he's doing. And I think everyone knows whom I'm talking about here. There's a 3 people player, a top player in the community that is very good at 3 people military victories. And yeah, there it's really dangerous and you have to be very efficient with your shadow. But in this case, I'm thinking, yeah, he did some inefficient separations here already, so I think, okay, I can probably handle this. Okay. Then I say I need to think a bit, but actually it's very clear what I'm doing. I'm gonna get Saruman here because I want more dice. I could have thought about perhaps getting Sauron to war and already move the Dol Guldur army I have here to attack here in the north, or to move them in this direction, because I'm expecting him to have Fear Foes or a Book of Masabu, and then I can immediately begin taking out these guys here, because I don't want to let him muster big forces here, because already, or not already, but if he plays it, then he can begin to muster, and I'm gonna have a hard time here. And yeah, could have thought about that, but I think the additional die with Saruman is more important at the beginning. And yeah, I get Eisencut to war, and he then plays Fear Fire Foes, and I'm like, ah, yeah, I knew it. And yeah, he activates the north and brings him all the way to war, and I'm like, okay, that's not so nice, but we will deal with it. And he also brings Gandalf and Gimli closer to Erebor, of course. Yep. And then I don't bring in Saruman right now, because if I did it, he could have brought in Gandalf the White right away. Because of course he could have just switched Gandalf here. If Gandalf is separated from the Fellowship, you can use a Will of the West to turn him to Gandalf the White at the point at the region where he is at the moment. Yeah, so I don't do it right away, and plan on using bringing in Saruman on my last action. Okay, instead I move my armies out of Barad-dûr. Reason for that, I actually at this point I plan to bring one Mordor army up there, because I think I probably need them to take out this and don't let them get too big up here. So that's my plan. That's why I'm moving it. I could have also moved the Dol Guldur army, but as I said, yeah, this is kind of weak. It's not really a big army yet, so I'm kind of a bit hesitant on doing this, especially because it might cause him to begin mastering already. I mean, he could, with the Will of the West, already get elites in Dale or Karok. So yeah, I kind of don't want that to happen, although he still could. But yeah, I want to bring in some force so I can deal with that. Then he doesn't master though. He uses it, the Will of the West, to move Strider and Boromir down in direction of Gondor, and brings Gimli and Gandalf to Erebor and activates the dwarves. Here I'm not sure if that is the right decision. Of course, you want to get your companions moving and so on, but I would have probably started mastering in Dale already if I have the chance. Yeah, let's do it right away, because you can still get them moving forward next turn with character dice you have to spare. Okay, and then I get Saruman, and that's it for the first turn. Okay, on to turn 2. As you can see, I drew Grond, Hammer of the Underworld, and Half Orcs and Goblin Men. which is perfect because now I can use half Orcs and Goblin as Isengard is already at war to bolster my Dol Guldur army. And then I actually already plan to use this army now instead of the Mordor armies to get quickly up to Old Forest Road and deal with the Northern Forces. So I'm happy to see this. Grond, well, it will be useful later, I guess. It's a powerful card. My opponent draws Mirror of Galadriel, is really useless for him. And Thranduil's Archers, that's actually useful. He drew exactly the right card for the northern region, and he can begin to strengthen his forces there. So that's a lucky draw for him. Now I decide to allocate absolutely no eyes here. My reasoning for this is, of course, if he happens to roll lots of movement, he could still now switch strategy and move the fellowship without me being able to stop them if I don't roll any eyes additionally. So yeah, it's a bit risky, but I just want to get my guys moving. I want to bring perhaps still this Mordor army up there, and also this army, the strengthened army, then get them up here. And just as I explained, I want to reduce the possibilities he has here and get as many guys destroyed here before he can muster more. Because, as I said, that is the dangerous thing. If the Free People player can muster in a region unopposed, then you're in trouble as Shadow. So that's why I say, okay, 0 eyes, I might roll some, and then I can still see what I can do with my roll. Yeah. Then I roll and I actually don't get any more eyes, so that's his chance. Let's see what he gets. He gets 2 movement though. So not the maximum, and also, as you can see, he now has Gandalf in Erebor. So I already know one of these will not go into any potential movement of the Fellowship. If he is going to do that at all, he will definitely bring in Gandalf the White now with one of those. And he might have one movement for the Fellowship, but at this point, I think he will not move them and will instead muster elites here. So yeah, I'm actually happy that I didn't roll any eye. And seeing my roll, it's not too good. It's a bit low on movement. But on the other hand, I have enough musters here to get the Witch King this round. So that's great. And I can also use one of my musters, and that's what I plan here. I plan on using one muster to bring Sauron to war, another muster to strengthen my Dol Guldur army, another Palantir to play half Orcs and Goblin men, makes his army even stronger, and then use my 2 movements and get this army up, and then can bring in the Witch King, or before actually, I will bring the Witch King into Guldur and then move the armies up. And then I'm probably either going to sit on Old Forest Road, or perhaps he moves this guy here, so I will have to attack it. And yeah, then I can deal with this next round fully. And yeah, okay, so that's my plan for this round. Let's see what he's gonna do. As I expected, he immediately gets Gandalf here. Makes total sense. Then I bring Sauron to war. He then thinks a bit, and then he uses his second Will of the West, and he actually moves the Fellowship here. So at this point, I think, okay, perhaps he really has a backup plan of moving them along slowly and just at a slower pace. And his actual plan was not to make a military victory, but just strengthen his nations and preparing them better for my upcoming assaults. So Yeah, but still, I think in this case, it was a bit of a mistake to move the fellowship because okay, we are turn 2, but he had the chance to muster more guys here. And I mean, he brought the North to war. For what if he doesn't really do anything with it? So I don't know. Perhaps he should rather have uh, mustered with this Will of the West. But perhaps he was still hoping to, yeah, move a fellowship, I guess. Okay, then I go through with my plan. I recruit the Isengard elite into Guldur. That's great. Then he plays his Stranger's Archers. I'm like, okay, this is going to be a bit harder up there now. Yeah, that of course makes total sense for him. Yep. Okay. Then I get another Sauron elite into Guldur. As I explained, I want to make this army strong enough to be able to deal with any possible reinforcements he gets up there. And then he actually recruits something, but he doesn't recruit elite in Dale. Instead, he musters in Bree. Yeah, and this is definitely a mistake here, because what's happening here on this side of the board? Nothing right now. I mean, I get it. Perhaps he's planning on using these guys to threaten Angmar, threaten Mount Gandalf or Moria later. But really, I don't care much about this region yet because, yeah, what are they going to do right now? And I can still reinforce my strongholds. I'm more worried about this because if he then also gets the dwarves to war and the elves, then this is a strong muster point, and he can from there get also to Mount Gandalf and have far bigger forces. So I want to take out this first. And at his part, I would probably have tried to defend against this. I don't know. Perhaps he just wanted to focus here and divert my attention to this region of the board. That might make sense. But I think he should have put that into Dale. And if he last round also had mustered more here, then he would already have a big army here. So then this would become far more difficult. But okay, he did it this way. Then, yeah, I draw a character card here. I don't know why I do this. I think perhaps I I saw the fellowship moving, and perhaps I'm thinking, yeah, if he now switches plans and goes for the fellowship again, perhaps I wanna have some character cards for that. Yeah, I'm not sure. Actually, it's totally needless to do this here. I should have instead drawn strategy cards, but okay. Then I bring the Witch King in as planned, and yeah, move my armies up to Old Forest Road because he didn't move his guy in. So I can now, next turn, take out both Dale and Carrock. Dale first, of course, because it's the more dangerous muster point, because it can reinforce Woodland Realm and Erebor, and I don't want that, so I will take this out first. And then I play The Ring is Mine. Yeah, as I said, I don't know why I did this. I could have drawn more strategy cards. Yeah. Okay, that's it for turn 2, and we're on to turn 3. Yeah, so let's see. What do we draw? I drew Olokai and Isildur's Bane. That's nice. Olokai is perfect for me to reinforce this army even further, so I can better deal with this here. And yeah, Isildur's Bane will probably get played for the combat effect, because I don't need it for the fellowship, I think. What did he draw? He drew Power of the Bombadil and oh no, he did not draw here yet. I think he forgot. Yeah, he drew his cards later. So I will get to that a bit later. I allocate just one eye now because now I'm actually forced to because he moved last turn. and yeah, don't really like it. And then I also roll 2 more, and then he rolls this. This is a perfectly nice roll for him. He can actually now move Strider and Boromir to Gondor and get his 6th die by crowning Aragorn. Yeah, and now we have his cards because he, yeah, as I said, he forgot to draw them. Draws them now, and he gets Ents and Student Ships. Both are useless to him, sadly. But yeah, okay. Um, so my plan here is to now attack Dale first because I want to take out this muster point, and he still hasn't mustered. And then go after Karuk, and then from there we'll see. But probably I will go for Erebor first because this way I could potentially kill off Gimli and Gandalf. I don't really care that Gandalf is here because he has so few units. This army with Olokai is gonna take out this one because I don't have 0 leadership. I have 1 with the guy from Isengard, so with the walks. So yeah, this is definitely gonna fall, I think. And I have fitting combat cards also, so, and I have Grant as well. So yeah, this is, I'm not afraid of this. So yeah, and then probably move the Southrons down 1 on the political track, and yeah, not much else. Okay, so what is he gonna do? First, he tries to muster an Elven elite into the Woodland realm, which of course is not possible because elves are not at war. So he takes that back, and then instead he musters finally in Dale. And now it's certain that I attack Dale because, of course, I don't want to let him muster up more. So I do attack, and I use a combat card. I use a Swarm of Bats here because, of course, he might have scouts, and I don't want this army to retreat to Erebor or Woodland Realm. So yeah, Swarm of Bats it is. He also plays a card. It's advantageous position. Perhaps he expected me to use something like Desperate Battle or Deadly Strife. That would have actually done something then, but in this case, well, it didn't do anything. My Swarm of Bats was also kind of wasted, but okay. Then we roll, and I get 2 hits on the combat roll and 1 more on the reroll, which, is very lucky because this now takes out his whole army, and he doesn't get a hit at all. So that's unlucky for him. And I'm, yeah, very happy about this because now I have my first victory point, and I can be kind of sure that this region of the board is not going to be a big problem, at least not now. So yeah, I'm happy about this. Then he, as I expected, moves his companions along. Um, direction to Gondor because I think he wants to get Aragorn here, and that makes sense. Then he also moves out Gandalf from Erebor, and this kind of makes sense because I think he also expects this army to go and attack Erebor, and he doesn't want to lose his 5th dice. But on the other hand, if Gandalf was here, he could negate my leadership. But perhaps he also thinks this is too much to handle, so better save him. But then he makes some weird movement here. He goes to Iron Hills first, then here, and yeah, he uses up 4 movements like this. Why not just move to Dale, then here, then here, then you're at 3, and then you can still move into the Guldur, perhaps, or I don't know where he wants to get Gandalf, but I'm thinking about perhaps Rohan or Fangorn to activate end cards, and or Rohan to activate them. And yeah, why not use all your movements more efficiently? He kind of wasted a move here, but okay, perhaps he just thought he couldn't move through Dale because I have a guy there, but that doesn't matter. Gandalf can still move through here. So yeah. Then I attack Karok because I want to deal with this so it doesn't become a problem later. This will weaken this army, but I still have Olokai in hand and I just don't want this to muster up. So he gets wiped out. He doesn't get a hit back also, and he still doesn't have scouts, which is sad for him. Yeah, okay. Then I have a bit of a discussion here, or I'm not sure if I need to actually move in an Nazgul here, if I use a character die to attack Karok. Yeah, I then proceed to ask about this on Discord in the rules channel, and yeah, you actually don't need to. You just must make sure that if you use a character die to attack, that your attacking army has leadership in it, but you don't actually need to move up any of those leaderships into the new region. So yeah, that's that. Then he proceeds and he uses a Will of the West here to muster, and he musters the dwarves here. And yeah, I think that is definitely a mistake because what's that gonna do for him? He can see my army is probably this turn gonna come here and then will attack Erebor. So if he wants to have any benefit from mustering the dwarves, he must actually use also this one to muster them again, and then use a ring to muster them all the way to war. So he next turn could bring in a lead, but this would also not work because I can still attack them then, and you will see what happens. Yeah, I move here. Second movement, I'm moving my guys from Mordor to Minas Morgul because I'm kind of at this point thinking, yeah, probably gonna attack Gondor here because if these guys come in, then Gondor could become a bigger threat, and I don't want that. I want to bind their forces and want to, yeah, not let them get big. So that's my plans. I don't really need these forces now up north. This army is big enough. And I have Olokai, and also these will probably come in later, so don't need more forces here now. Yeah. Then he uses the second Will of the West also as a muster, and he musters the dwarves again. So yeah, at this point he definitely, I think, just forgot about Strider and Boromir here. Because he could have gotten Aragorn here. Why didn't he do this? Yeah, I think he just kind of forgot about them, and they're just chilling out down here and making a holiday at the beaches here or whatever. But yeah, he kind of forgot it. And I think it's because he was kind of panicked. I would take this and thought this was actually gonna do anything if he musters the dwarves. Um, But yeah, as I explained, it doesn't do anything because I can still attack him and he will not be able to get any guys in here except if he has Dane Ironfoot's guard. But I can't do something against that anyway. So yeah, don't know what he thought here, but he musters them, and then I play Olokai because I want to reinforce this army even more so they can easily take out Erebor. I actually plan on taking it out with Grunt next turn. Okay, and then he uses his character die, and I think, yeah, he will probably bring these guys here and Gandalf somewhere. But then instead he uses the ring and makes it a master die, and I think, okay, he probably wants to get more elites in Erebor and then muster the dwarves all the way to war, so he can at the start of next turn muster an elite here. But he doesn't do this. Instead, he musters 2 northern leaders here. And I don't get that. Because giving up a ring for this, which really doesn't do anything. I mean, of course, he probably plans on using these guys to at some point get after my strongholds here. But if you muster all the dwarfs 2 times with your other dice, then you should go through with that and yeah, at least get 1 more elite in here next turn. So yeah, and also now he also enables me by giving me a ring to attack this turn, which then prevents him playing Dane Ironfoot Guard, even if he drew it next turn, it wouldn't help him anymore because now, as you can see, I use my use the ring he just gave me and attack Erebor now, so I can take it out with my last Palantir and Grond this turn. So he cannot actually play Dane anymore. So yeah, that definitely was a mistake. But yeah, it happens. Okay, so I go in and that brings the dwarves to war. I don't leave anyone in Dale. I mean, yeah, he could potentially move this guy in here and then he could muster again, but I don't really care about that. I mean, I can just kill them and yeah, it doesn't really do anything for him here. And I don't expect him to do it actually. So yeah, I attack and then I play Grond and I use Cruel's Death here as my combat card. He can't play any in the first round. Oh, actually, he can. He can, actually. So this was a mistake I did there. That's something I just realized here. He could have actually played a combat card because he has a companion in the battle. Um, hmm. I don't think it would have changed much, but this is actually a mistake. I should have not played it immediately. Yeah, he couldn't really have prevented this, so yeah, but still, this is a mistake. I shouldn't have done that. But he didn't notice, and yeah, I get then 3 hits, which is nice for me, I guess, and he gets 4 dice and just gets 1 hit, which is of course not so good. Yeah, then we go on to second round. And I draw, what did I draw? I draw Mogul Wound here, which is useless really, and the combat effect is also not too good, so yeah, okay. Then he doesn't play a card anyway in the second round. Okay, perhaps this really didn't change the outcome of this combat, but nonetheless, this was definitely a rule mistake by me here. Apologize for that. Yeah, then I play Desperate Battle and I get the required hits and take out Gimli here. And he gets 2 hits back. And yeah, now, as you can see, my plan of taking out the section of the board or preventing him from mustering here and threatening something with his military, yeah, it went well. I took out the North and I took out 1 companion and the dwarves, more or less. So yeah, this went well for me. Okay. Then we're on to turn 4 here. What do we draw? I draw Shadow Lengthens and Balrog. Don't care too much about Balrog, but Shadow Lengthens is nice. Always good to get movement cards. Then he draws Horn of Gondor and Wisdom of Elrond. Both not too useful for him. I mean, this one he can use the combat effect potentially, and but Wisdom of Elrond is really just another muster. He could play Confusion though. Okay. I then decide to again allocate one eye here, even though he didn't move last turn. I don't know if I should have done that. It really makes no sense because I kind of know now that he doesn't want to move the fellowship. Perhaps I'm just a bit afraid he might at some point switch strategy here, but I'm like, okay, let's do it and just be safe here because I have time, as we can see. So I roll one more and he gets this roll, which again would let him get Aragon this turn. So nice for him. Yeah, what am I gonna do here? My plan, I think, here is just to take out the dwarves here and then get the Southrons to war so I can then combine my armies and go after the Woodland Realm here, or potentially move in the direction of Gondor here. Yeah, don't really have any rush, I don't have time constraints here. So yeah, he begins by playing the Will of the West, and I'm like, okay, he still doesn't want to get Aragon, I guess, and they still gonna enjoy their holiday in Andros, I guess. Okay, yeah, I think he still just forgot about them and didn't realize he could get Aragon. Yeah, you should watch out for that. And he then uses it as an army die, and he consolidates his forces in Eriador. And I'm not sure what this does, especially because he hasn't mustered more here. I mean, I get it. He wants to do something with these and attack me here, but he has still 2 muster dice. And why not muster more elites or more northern units here first, and then at some point go after my strongholds? Because like this, they will not be able to take one of either of these. You definitely need more forces. I'm not sure, but he proceeds to do this. And what do I do here? Yeah, as I said, I take out the dwarven unit here. I don't want him to muster here or get him to Dale or whatever. Which he also could have done with this army move. Then he could have mustered in Dale. Yeah, but probably not worth it. Yeah, I kill him and move the Witch King army here because I want to use at some point Shadow Lengthens to get one of these, or perhaps both, I think both, to here because it's 6 units and there's 4, so I have a full stack then here. Yeah, exactly. And yeah, then he musters Gondor here. I guess this makes kind of sense because he still at some point wants to get Strider and Boromir here and then defend Gondor, and this will make it harder for me to attack. Or at least he can then get units in to Ministerial, for example, if I attack Osgiliath or reinforce Dor Amroth. But at this point, why not muster more here? I mean, if you're gonna do this stuff, then why not amass more? Because this is just not this is not gonna be enough. Okay, but Gondor is also fine, I guess. And then, yeah, in reaction to that, I think, okay, let's move around some armies here because I wanna get going after them too at some point. So that's what I'm doing here. Then he musters them all the way to war. Okay, if you're gonna go through with it, then all the way. Could he have still? Yeah, he could have not really played anything else. Perhaps he should have thought about the elves, because then these units could do something, and he could also use these if he wants to merge them with this army. Yeah, perhaps rather go for the elves here. Might be a possibility. Okay, and then I go through with my plan. No, I try to use this here, but of course I cannot because the south fronts are not at war yet. I can't move these into the Iron Hills. So first I move this army to South Sicilian and this one to Minas Morgul. Also playing a bit safe, defending Minas Morgul, so he can't do anything here. To get into Minas Morgul with scouts, perhaps. I don't know if he knows that if I attack and he has scouts, he could scout here, and then if this was empty, he could move in. Of course, this has no leader, and he would have to use a ring, which I think he shouldn't do. But that's just a theoretical move. Three people sometimes can do to mess with Shadow by using scouts like this. So I prevent that, and yeah, I just want to get going against Gondor here. And yeah, then he moves them to Amroth. And yeah, as I said, he should just have saved this Will of the West to get Aragorn. And he also moves Gandalf here to here. Okay. Then I bring the South and the Easterlings down the political track because then I can play the Shadow Lengthens later. And he then uses his last character die to move this army into Northtown, so they are now consolidated. But yeah, as I said, this is just not enough to. I mean, he can take Angmar out, of course. I'm not even going to bother to muster there, but this is not going to take Mount Gundabad. No way. Except if I don't get any musters and he rolls really well, okay, he could take it, but I'm not expecting to not get any musters. So yeah, okay. In reaction, I actually don't get the Southlands and Easterlings to war here. Instead, I muster a Sauron elite, and I'm not sure. Perhaps I didn't need to do this and should have brought them to war instead. But he, seeing this army here, I kind of want to play it safe and don't want him to be easily able to take this, and just give him a bit of a headache here. Okay, so and then I just draw strategy cards because what else am I gonna do with these Palantirs? And I'm lucky. I drew Orcs multiplying again, which of course is a perfect card for this situation because now, and that's also what I'm gonna play with my last Palantir, because now I can reinforce both Dol Guldur, which is at this moment empty and a bit of a weak point here, and Mount Gundabad, make this really hard for him. And yeah, that's just a very lucky draw on my part here. Okay. On to turn 5 we go. I draw The Day Without Dawn and Lure of the Ring, and he draws There Is Another Way and King Brandsman. Okay, what do I discard here? I think it's Morgul Wound because I don't really need it to corrupt the Fellowship, and the Black Brass is also not the best combat effect, so I get rid of that. Yep. And then he gets rid of, oh yeah, Athelas and King Brandsman. King Brandsman makes sense because Dale is taken. But Athelas, I'm not sure. I mean, you can use it as Anduril at some point if you get Aragorn. Or even with Strider you can use it, but with Aragorn it's more powerful. And you can do something with this. While There Is Another Way or Mirror of Galadriel do not really anything for you, except if you're trying to save the heroic death here. It might be good because if you take one stronghold of me, then to defend it, these heroic deaths are very valuable, especially if you have companions accompanying your armies. And when I then try to take them back, you can play heroic death, and then it's becoming much harder for me to retake my strongholds. So for this, it makes sense, but rather perhaps just keep one of them and kill the other and keep Anduril here. That's at least what I would have done. Okay. Then I again allocate 0 eyes because at this point I'm absolutely not worried about anything regarding the fellowship. So I just want to be able to muster and slowly advance my military. And I get no eyes, and he actually gets this role, which again will be will enable him to get Aragorn here. And he also could now still switch strategy. I guess he could move 3 times, and with the ring even move 4 times. If he now thinks, well, my military plan doesn't really work out now, so I can still do the fellowship, and if he moves 4 times, he would be at 5 movement, turn 5. That's not too bad. I mean, it's slow, but it's not too slow. And he can still think about a ring victory, perhaps. But it's gonna be tough, of course. But yeah, it's a possibility. Don't know if it makes sense to switch at this point, but yeah, it's there. And I'm like, okay, he could do this, but instead he musters more now here. So I'm thinking, okay, he's definitely not going to do something with the fellowship. He's intent on attacking my guys. So yeah, I react to this by finally bringing the Southron and Easterlings to war because, I want to play my Shadow Lengthens and create this big army up north. And yeah, he then proceeds, as I expected from this point on, to move his guys now in the direction of Moria because it's the weakest stronghold I have. And yeah, I see this and I count. And if you count it, he actually cannot, he can attack this turn, yes. He could go to South Downs, Holland, and then attack Moria with these dice. But he also probably wants to get Aragorn, so then he's 1 die short. And yeah, then I'm still able to reinforce this region. And you'll see what happens. First, I'm actually, he made also another mistake because, of course, he couldn't have known that, but I had Day Without Dawn. And that's also the reason why I brought the Southern Easterlings to war here, because, of course, now I can eliminate his Will of the West, and he cannot get Aragorn this turn. So, yeah, perhaps if you see you have a Will of the West, use it right away when the Shadow has all his nations at war, because then you're at risk with the from this card. I think he just didn't know this card. He's a relatively new player, and I think he just hasn't all the cards memorized. So yeah, I think it was a surprise to him, and yeah, because he also undid this to read the cards. So yeah, I'm kind of lucky here, I guess. And then I eliminate his possibility to get Aragorn this turn, and now I know these guys are not going to attack Moria this turn. And yeah, they still move in the direction. But now I count my dice and think, okay, I can muster a big force in North Dunland and then just move them into Moria. And then these guys are never going to take this. So that's exactly what I do. I muster elites. He is then not moving this army to Holland. Instead, he's moving out the elves. I'm not sure what that does. The elves are nowhere near at war. Perhaps he's planning to merge these and then have a bigger army here. But at this point, this makes no sense because the elves, as I said, are nowhere near Boar. They could have been if he earlier used some of his musters for the elves, but still, this is, I don't know. He could have moved here. Okay, let's go on. I muster more elites in Dunland as I planned, and then I play Shadow Lengthens because now I can, and bring my rune forces, the Istarix, up north. Because yeah, my plan is to go after Woodland Realm here, and then I bring in the Dunlendings to Moria, and the Witch King to Dale, and for my last action I attack Woodland Realm. Of course, this brings down the elves once and kind of do some work for him, because as I see this move, I'm like, okay, he wants to merge these forces and attack me, but if I, yeah, I still want to attack this anyway and just lock this up so he can't think of anything like here in Dol Guldur. So this is just safe, and I mean, this is a giant army and I want to do something with it, so why not now? So I attack him, and that's it for this turn. So on to turn 6. The elves move down a space, of course, yeah. Then what does he draw? He draws Mithril Coat and Sting, which is kind of useless for him. And Swords and Eriador could be okay if he wants to muster more here. What does he get rid of? He gets rid of Horn of Gondor. I guess makes sense because you can't use it in the Fellowship, but the Mighty Attack might be useful. So why not get rid of Mithril? Or there's another way. And the Wisdom of Elrond, which I kind of understand. Not really useful, but Confusion is a nice combat effect, and you can't really use the End card. Perhaps get rid of the End? I don't know. Saruman is not really threatening here yet, so... And Gandalf is also not in Fangorn yet. Okay, I allocate 0 eyes again, get 1 more, okay, and he gets this roll, and now he remembers and gets Aragorn right away, rightly so. Although now he could wait because I have played Day Without Dawn, but yeah, anyway, he wants to get the 6 die. And what do I do here? Yeah, I then don't attack the Woodland Realm because this would get the elves to war. And I don't want to do more work for him, so he actually has to move his the elves down if he wants to merge this, and perhaps also Lorien to attack Moria. Then I don't want to give him so yeah, I don't want to do his work for him. So instead I move my Nazgul to Ithilien, so I can now attack Gondor, because that was my other plan anyway. And yeah, what I'm doing. Yeah, also I forgot to mention my cards. It was Breaking of the Fellowship, which will become important, and Return to Valinor, also good because of Deadly Strife, of course. What does he do? He then uses up his Will of the West and merges this force here. Okay, he still can only use the northern guys. Then I react to that by mustering even more in Moria, because I'm like, yeah, I can't spare this muster. I don't have anything to do with this really, except hindering this attack, so why not? Then I can also do field battle against them without too much trouble, so yeah, that's what I'm gonna do. He then proceeds to actually attack this army with this, which I think is very risky, you know. I mean, what are you gonna do, of course, because you committed to this plan and you kinda, okay, I try it. But he can only use his northern guys here. That's just 8 hit points, and I have like These are 8, 9, 10, 11 hit points. And yeah, that's not the best situation for him. Okay, but I'm like, okay, we can try it. And I fight, of course, and he uses a card, and I use also a card. I think I use the Balrog here because I'm in the defending force, and it's Moria, so why not? Um, yeah, he plays charge. I guess that makes sense. To use his elites, and then we have a small discussion which card actually comes first. Because it actually would make a difference, because if he gets hits with his if I get hits with my Balrog against him, that will reduce his elites potentially, and then he couldn't use this fully. So yeah, but I think mine comes first here because I'm the defender, and I think we played that right. He has 4 dice, of course, only because he has only 4 north units attacking here. The elf doesn't count, so he gets 2 hits, and I get only 1 hit, which I'm fine with. I mean, I could have got more here, but yeah, I don't really care. And now his army is really weakened, and yeah, this is not gonna take this, especially since the elves are not even part of this force. So I feel safe here. And then he presses still, and I retreat into the stronghold. And this is a really big army now. It even has leadership because of the Saruman elites in here, so that's gonna be tough for him. Okay, what I'm gonna do here, yeah, then I just decide, yeah, why not attack Gondor now? I feel safe here, and that was my plan anyway, so attack. Actually, I use another die here. Don't really know why I use another die. I think because I also think I might need to move them again. Not sure why, because this doesn't need leadership here, the stronghold. But perhaps I want to be able to go to Woodland Realm again. Yeah, not sure. I attack, play, I think, Cruel's Death here, because I don't need Cruel Weather. Yeah, that's what I'm gonna do, and I get my 2 hits, and he plays no card and gets no hits, so that's not good for him. Gondor's at war though, and I get a red tile, which is also useless. And I take Osgiliath here. Then he plays Swords and Eriador. I guess, yeah, what else are you gonna play here with this Palantir? You could also have drawn a card, but perhaps if he wants to use some of these musters, then to still reinforce here or attack here makes kind of sense. But they are so far away, so till they're here, he needs a lot of dice. Then he musters, and I think here he forgot to redraw his card. Because he could have drawn a card here, and I think he just forgot, and I didn't notice it at this point. Okay. Then I attack Ministerius here, because he didn't muster in it. Then he passes, and I play Dinosaur's Folly. Now I can finally use the card, so I'm kind of happy I didn't throw it away. Yeah, that makes this army really weak, and now this is the Witch King is gonna take this. Then he uses a ring, and I'm like, okay, what are you using a ring here for? And he actually musters the elves with a ring. I'm not sure if that's worth it. I mean, of course, you want to muster the elves because you want to get these to join this army, because otherwise you were never gonna take this. But use a ring up for this. I mean, you still could have done something else. Like, for example, he could have moved Gandalf into this force, or separated Legolas, because he is at 1 movement and Legolas level 2, so he could have gone to Moria with him, and then he could have he could have more leadership, and some combat cards would have been possible to play with companions. So why not do that? Yeah, but he decided to move the elves instead. Okay. Then I attack Minas Tirith. I'm just going along with my plan here, and I play They Are Terrible, and he can't play a card, of course. This time it's really he really can't play a card. Again, I'm sorry for the grunt mistake. I really don't think it affected anything, but still, that was definitely not correct. But in this case, it is. So I get 3 hits. Oh no, I actually only get 2 hits. He gets 1 hit. So that's very good for me, and I decide to press here. Because yeah, I now could play Deadly Strife, but I think I actually don't. Which doesn't really make sense because where am else I'm gonna use this? Perhaps here, but there really don't need it. Here definitely don't wanna play Deadly Strife in this siege battle because that would give him a big advantage. So of course not. I don't know. I just didn't. And then I don't take him out. I just get 1 hit. Should have played it, and he doesn't get any. Then I draw a strategy card, and I'm very happy to see a new powers rising here because now I have a new plan. I have the plan to play a new powers rising here, which I now do, and recruit in Dunland with this. And now I can use these guys to attack this force because I mean I probably would need them, but why not use these guys who are otherwise not gonna get used anywhere? I'm not really planning on attacking Rohan right now or the Shire or whatever. I just wanna make sure this doesn't somehow luckily work out for him, and he also now the elves are close to joining this fight, so then he could have a shot at it. So I'm like, no, I wanna weaken this force, and I can use these. So why not? That's what I'm. That's why I'm playing a new Powers Rising here, and I draw the ring base are abroad and threats and promises. So we're on to turn 6 now. No, turn 7 actually. And he is drawing Path of the Roses and another end card, which again are really useless. And Path of the Roses he also cannot play. Rohan is not at war. Yeah, no good card draws for him here. And then I allocate 0 eyes again, but I get this crazy roll, which I don't know what the chances are to get this, but they are very, very low. Yeah, I get 6 eyes here. I think I only rolled something like this like twice in all my games. I don't know, but it definitely wasn't a lot of times I did this or I saw this with my opponent. So yeah, it happens. And then he also gets a kind of freak roll. He gets also 5 character dice, but that's a bit more likely actually, and 1 army die. And he kind of laugh a bit about this. Yeah. And then what does he do? He plays Mirror of Galadriel, and I'm not sure why. I mean, what for exactly does he need a Will of the West? Why does he want to get rid of this card? Or I really don't understand this move. I don't know. Um, Rather again bring in your companions to Moria. Um, yeah, I don't know what's this gonna do. Perhaps he wants to muster one time more with the Will of the West he's getting in Lorien, perhaps. Or if he brings the elves to war, he could do that. So that's possibility. Other, I don't really see. Okay. Then I decide to use one of my master die to get more Isengard units because I can still use them. Because as you might remember, I drew the ringlets are abroad, and I can use this die to move these, consolidate these then in North Dunland, and then use the ringlets abroad to attack into this army. And that's the plan because, as I said, I don't really need these, and I just want him to throw them at this army. So he's just gonna get destroyed here or weakened at least. So it's even more unlikely he takes it. So that's my plan. He then proceeds to get the elves to war. Now he could muster one more elf in Lorien, for example. Yeah, I'm going through with my plan. I get the guys consolidated in North Dunland and also move some south ones to Gondor because I also want to attack there rather sooner than later. Then he moves in his elven units and yeah, so he actually he could have mustered once more. Perhaps he should have. But of course, then he would have also have to use his more of his character dice to move. And perhaps he didn't want that and thought this is enough. And now I think is the time to strike because I want to hit him before this army in Dimrildal reinforces this army. And I go ahead and I play the Ringwraiths are abroad and bring in all my Nazgul at first. But then I decide I don't bring in the Witch King because it's a bit risky. I mean, look at this. This is now he has 8 hit points against 7, so I'm actually a bit weaker than him, and I don't want to risk losing these or losing the Witch King. So yeah, I ultimately decide that I will not use the Witch King in this combat because I just don't want to lose the Witch King, and I move him back to Minas Tirith. And yeah, I just use my 4 Nazgul. They're going to be enough. I also plan on using Dread and Despair as a combat effect here in the first round, so he cannot inflict too many hits on me, and then I could still, if he doesn't retreat, I get another round in. So yeah, that's the plan. And yeah, here I'm kind of still undecided, so I'm moving back and forth, but in the end I decide to leave him in Minas Tirith. So then I attack the Moria army, and as I said, I use Dread and Despair as a combat card here. I think he also uses a combat card. What does he use? Oh yeah, he tries Huon Dark here, which of course is not playable. And yeah, he has to take that back. And then he decides, I think, that he doesn't play another card. Let's see if he could have. Yeah, he could probably have played Sudden Strike here, or perhaps Heroic Death to prevent some hits, but I don't think if it's worth it to play it here, because actually you want to kind of retain your leaders since you're on the offensive here. Yeah, since he wants to take it actually, so that Sudden Strike would have been perhaps a good idea. On the other hand, perhaps he also wants to just save this for a siege attack, but you know, who knows if he is going to get a siege attack here. So, but yeah, how does the combat go? Um, I we discuss a bit, and then I forfeit 4 leadership, of course, and then I get this roll. And that's of course very, very lucky. I get 5 hits on the first, just the combat roll. And yeah, he only gets to roll 1 die. And then he doesn't even get a hit. Also not on the reroll. And so yeah, that's very unfortunate for him and very fortunate for me. But this more or less seals the fate of this army. He will not be able to take out the besieged force here. So yeah, at this point, it's practically clear that he cannot achieve a military victory anymore. There are some possibilities, I guess, still, but it's very difficult now. So kind of he now has to sprint, I guess, or do something about it, but it's very hard, I think, for him now to turn the game. Yeah, he takes his casualties, and there's just 3 regulars remaining. And of course I press here, and I think I play no card. He stays and also plays no card. I'm not sure if he should have stayed here and not retreat to Dimril Dale. I mean, yeah, I don't know if it makes sense, but at least you would have saved this army and your 3 leaders, and could have used these 3 regulars for defense of Lorien, perhaps because he will move this army back next. So perhaps then he still has a defending force at least. Yeah, I don't know, but he stays, and yeah, I get another 3 hits. So this army is destroyed, and he gets 2 hits, but I don't really care about that. And then, yeah, I move in, and now I have a giant army in Moria. So yeah, this is really, it's a deciding moment, I guess, in the game. Yeah, then he still has his 3 character dice left. As I said, he moves his army back into Lorien, and then he he just goes on with his plan. Actually, he doesn't begin to move the Fellowship or anything. He then just moves the Grey Havens out to Eridluin, and yeah, I think his plan is now to just go for Angmar or whatever. I don't know really, but what else can he really do? I mean, he could now start moving the Fellowship, but they're at 1 movement right now, and I mean, I'm at basically, if the Woodland Realm falls, and it will fall, and also Minas Tirith will also fall, with just 2 regulars remaining here, I'm basically already at 7 points, and then I just need 3 more, and I mean, look at Rohan or Amroth or Pelagir. I think there will be the decision. So it's really not much he can do. Yeah, then he uses his Elven Ring to his last one to also merge up the forces from the Shire, do something with his army, but really it makes no difference now. Okay, we go on to turn 8. I draw Monsters Rouse and War on Wizard and Toil, and he gets File and a Red Arrow. Normally these would be good cards, but in this case it doesn't really help him. I'm thinking of what he could do in this case, but let's wait until we see the rolls. So I of course allocate 0 eyes again, and I get 1 more, and he gets this roll. Now we count. He has no rings left. He has just 1 attack, 2 attacks, 3 attacks. So in theory, he could play with this die. He could play the Red Arrow. Then Rohan would be here. Then he could play 2 Masters to bring Rohan to war. Then he could use this die to play Path of the Roses and bring this to Osgiliath. And then he could use this die to perhaps then attack Pelagia when I take it. And so take back Pelagia if I take it, which is likely this round. So in this way, perhaps survive if I also take Helm's Deep, you know. But that's more or less it. I don't see any other real reasonable choice he has. Okay. What does he discard? Yeah, he kills an ant. Don't know. Perhaps he should have held on to that because it might be that I attack Rohan here, but I actually will not. Yeah. What I go on? What does he do? Yeah, he just continues with this plan and goes up to Angmar here and moves this army out of Rivendell. Yeah, I guess. What else are you gonna do? With your second movement, perhaps get these guys to West Emnet and prepare for a Helm's Deep attack. This way you could perhaps still defend it, you know, if I go for this. So, but he's still trying to do a military victory. And yeah, then I move around Nazgul, and I decide now to first take out the Woodland Realm. And I also move some Nazgul to Mount Gandalf because just to be safe, this army will in most cases not be able to take this one out, but he could be also lucky, like I was here, so perhaps, and then I would like some leadership up here. That's why I moved them here. And yeah, he then uses his Will of the West and again moves and takes Angmar here. Okay, 1 victory point. Doesn't really change much. Yeah, and now he can't do what I just said, so I can safely take Pelagia here. Although, of course, I don't know he has these cards anyway. I don't know he has Path of the Roses, but still, in retrospect, now he can't even do that. And then I try and play Monsters Roused, or I think to play it, because I first thought I could now take Rivendell for free, but of course he still has 2 masters, so I can't really take it for free. And yeah, I don't really need to. So I take this back and actually attack the Woodland Realm now. And then I play Devilry of Orthanc, and I get 2 hits, and he gets 2 hits. And I press a bit. Yeah. And in the end, the Woodland Realm falls. And I'm at 5 victory points. Yeah. Now it goes kind of fast. He moves to Mount Gram, but now he cannot even attack Mount Gundabot this round because he has no ring left and he has no attacking dice left. So that's also no danger. And then I, just for the heck of it, I just muster more in Mount Gundabad to make it even more hopeless there. And even if he attacks it, it's very unlikely he does anything. Then then he moves Rohan, but I think too late. And then I use a ring to again move my Nazgul because I didn't have another character die showing. So yeah, that's what I'm gonna do. Move them to Minas Tirith to take that out. Then he plays the red arrow. Okay. Some more Rohan guys, and then I take Minas Tirith with Deadly Strife. Kill it, and that's 7 victory points. And then he gets another Elven Elite in Rivendell. I guess he wants to reinforce the Mount Gram army somehow. But yeah, there's no real way for him to do this efficiently. And then I just draw a card because I don't really know what else to play here. I mean, I could play this one, but I have enough units here and I don't need them, and everything else I also don't need. So yeah, I kill a red tile because those are also not used in this game. And then I draw another card, and this time it's Corsairs. So I actually changed plans. Initially, I thought about attacking Helm's Deep here because he still had moved out this army from Edoras, but seeing I draw courses here, I think, yeah, I can just move this back and attack Aragorn because he hasn't mastered here at all. And 3 regulars, even with Aragorn and Boromir, are no match for a force like this. So that's my plan now. Yeah, and that's what I'm going to do. I move the Witch King here to take Pelagia, and I move these guys back into Umber to play next round, take Dol Amroth. So, okay, we go on to turn 9, last turn. Yeah, I kill the next red tile, I mean, and I get Shadows moving, and he gets, and the Littlest Eye, obviously, and he gets the Eagles Are Coming and the Power to Great. Both really don't do anything for him. Even if he defends Rivendell and Lorien, um, yeah, I will not attack these places. So, and he also kills another end card. Mm, Okay, I allocate 0 eyes again and get 2 more, and he gets this roll. Yeah, it really doesn't matter. He attacks Gandalf. I fight 1 combat round because I think I still have some hits I can take, 2 to be exact, and I want to weaken this army a bit. Um, and I still have a swarm of bats, which I just plan to play here to negate his combat card, and that's what I'm doing. He played power to great, so I have no quarter. I mean, that makes sense, but it's negated by swarm of bats, and then we have a little discussion here because I tell him, have you not seen the Hobbit movies where all these nasty bats live in Mount Gandalf with the army, with Bolg? Yeah, in the third movie. Yeah. So we talk about that, and then we do some combat, and he gets a hit. I get a hit. Then he presses, and I then retreat into the fortress. Then I play Corsairs as planned. Yeah, first I take everyone, then I decide to leave one in Amber. I think that there was no real danger there, but just to be safe, this lone regular in Pelagia could somehow kill this guy in West Harondor, and then he would be able to march into Amber, but of course he wouldn't because I could still muster an elite there, so that was really unnecessary. I could have taken this one also, and yeah, I just wanted to make this kind of safe, And yeah, and he attacks Gundabad with no card, and he just doesn't get any hit. I get 1 hit, and yeah, we joke a bit about now the bats being very friendly, and yeah, that they like dwarves. And yeah, then it's another very friendly combat round where he doesn't get a hit and I just get lots of 2s. Whatever. These rolls sometimes are just crazy. And yeah, I joke more about them having to learn about being not so nice to dwarves. And yeah, he presses again, and this time he again gets no hits, but I get 2, so that's the deciding combat there. At least what his military attempts are concerned, because now, of course, he's not going to take any additional point. And yeah, then I go along and take Pelagia out with the Witch King and get my hits. Yeah, that's 8 victory points. And then he, because I think he kind of saw that it was kind of hopeless situation here, he just goes for a sortie from the Amroth. I mean, at least that's kind of cool, doing some heroic stuff in the end. I mean, you have to. I really found this cool because if you know you go down, at least go down swinging and doing something cool. So yeah, he attacked me here, and he played sudden strike. Yeah, makes sense here because he has 3 leadership and I have great host. Automatic hit, most probable. So then he gets 2 hits on the sudden strike, which I then take on my Mumakil because I just calculate if he gets 3 hits from his combat roll, then I will still have double the force he has and get my automatic hit. So yeah, then he gets exactly 2 hits. Oh no, actually he gets more because I have to tell him he has more dice with Aragorn and Boromir. He actually has 5 dice and 3 3 rerolls, so actually he could get more hits. He could get 5 hits. I miscalculated that, but in the end he gets exactly 3. And I get also 3. So that's it. So Aragorn dies, going down in a heroic last battle here. And yeah, now it's game because he can't take anything back. And that's it. Yeah, I think this was quite an interesting game because it was just unexpected for me. I didn't expect something like this in the beginning. I thought it would be more like a normal ring game, and yeah, it was interesting to play against that kind of approach. I mean, of course, he did some mistakes here and there, and then it was kind of easier to defend against it. But generally, it takes some practice to play against offensive three people approach from the get-go, and it can really hurt Shadow sometimes if you're not careful. So I think it was good practice, and yeah, that's it. That's the game. So yeah, if you liked this video and you found it helpful, please give me a like and perhaps comments what I could have done better or any other strategic advice or advice for doing this video, these videos in general. And yeah, I would be delighted to know your opinions. And yeah, let's see how the tournament progresses from this point on. So yeah, goodbye. Take care.